Part 2 of the history of America, the Civil War. Civil War was fought between the southern states and the northern states. The southern states did not want the north telling them what to do or making laws they didn't want. As a result, many southern states decided to break away, creating their own country. The north wanted to stay as one united country, so the Civil War began. The events before the war. On October 16th, in 1859, abolitionist John Brown attempts to start a rebellion by taking over the Harper's Ferry arsenal. The uprising is quickly put down, and John Brown's hanged for treason. Many people in the North, however, considered him a hero. Also, the next year, on November 6th, 1860, Abraham Lincoln, yes, Mr. Cheekbones, was from the northern part of the country and was wanted to put an end to slavery. The southern states didn't want him president or making laws that would affect them. South Carolina accedes, and the same year on the next month, on December 20th, 1860. South Carolina became the first state to secede or leave the United States. They decided to make their own country rather than be part of the USA. Within a few months, several other states, including Georgia, Mississippi, Texas, Florida, Alabama, and Louisiana, will also leave. The Confederation is formed. On February 9th, which is my birthday, 1861, the Southern States formed their own country called the Confederate States of America. Jefferson Davis is their president. Abraham Lincoln becomes president. Yes, March 4th, 1861. Now that President Lincoln is in office, he wants to restore the Union. In other words, get all the states back into the same country. The Civil War. The Civil War begins on April 12th, 1861. The South attacks Fort Sumter, South Carolina, and starts the war. More states leave the Union. April 1861. Within a short period of time, Virginia, North Carolina, Tennessee, and Arkansas all leave the Union to join the Confederacy. Union blockade. April 19, 1861. Abraham Lincoln announces the Union blockade, where the Union Navy will attempt to keep supplies from entering or leaving the Confederacy. This blockade will weaken the Confederacy later in the war. The many battles of 1861 and 1862. Throughout 1861 through 1862, there are many battles where lots of soldiers from both sides were wounded and sadly killed. Some of the major battles include the first and second battles of the Bull Run, and the Battle of Shiloh, the Battle of Antietam, I don't know how to say that, sorry, and the Battle of the Fredericksburg. There were also the famous sea battle between the two ironclad battleships, the Monitor and the Merrimac. These ships had iron or steel plates on their sides for armor, making them much stronger and changing the war on the seas forever. The Emancipation Proclamation, January 1st, 1863. President Lincoln issues an executive order freeing many of the enslaved in the Battle of Gettysburg. July 1st, 1863, a major battle where the North not only wins the battle, but starts to win the Civil War. Sherman captures Atlanta. On 17/2 of 1864, General Sherman captures the city of Atlanta, Georgia. Later in the year, he will march to the sea and capture Savannah, Georgia. On his way, he would destroy and burn much of the land his army passed through. The Civil War ends. General Robert E. Lee surrenders on April 9th, 1865. General Lee, the leader of the Confederate Army, surrenders to General Ulysses S. Grant at the uh, the Appomattox Courthouse in Virginia. President Lincoln is assassinated April 14th in 1865. While attending the Ford's Theater, President Lincoln is shot in the head and killed by John Wilkes Booth. The Reconstruction of the South, 1865 to 1877. The South is occupied by the federal troops while state governments, economies, and infrastructure are rebuilt.